Oh, chapter 6, which is fragments 2. And we just talked about the dependent fragments, the ones beginning with even, though, although, after, when. We have to, so we need an independent, remember? So that's chapter 5 if you need to go back. Now we're going to talk about the next way is fragments without a subject. And I just want to make a note here. I know a lot of my students are English language learners. So just make sure that you always have a subject. We have to have a subject. Like I know in Spanish we don't need to like como me coming my food. So that would be okay, but in English we need we would need that. You can't drop the yo. You have to have the I. So just remember, you always have to have a subject. So let's take a look here. So Joe Davis lowered himself from the van into his wheelchair and then rolled up the sidewalk ramp. So if you take the period here, if we look, stop here, and then rolled up the sidewalk. Who rolled up the sidewalk? So it would be Joe Davis. So the easy way to correct this is, and then he rolled up the sidewalk, or simply just get rid of the period like they do here. Where is it? Well, and then rolled up. Okay. Just make sure you always have a subject. The one thing I wanted to point out that's not in here is the only time you will not see a subject in English is if you're giving command. So like say I said to you, close the door. I don't need to say you close the door. The you is understood. It's implied. So you don't see the you, but we know that it's the subject. So if you see a sentence that says close the door, period, you'll say, well, Mr. Howell, there's no subject. There is. It's you. So it's okay. It is a sentence. You close the door. We don't say you. It's not necessary. All right, let's look at here. ING. This is kind of high-level stuff, and some of you I've been correcting on it, but in English 110 I will. Let's take a look here. Hoping to furnish their new home cheaply. Period. Hoping to furnish their new home cheaply. Who is hoping? There's no subject. So let's take a look at the next part. The newlyweds go to garage sales. Okay? So hoping to furnish their new home cheaply. Let's just add a comma. Comma. The newlyweds go to garage sales. Now we know who is hoping to furnish the newlyweds. So just add a comma. Okay, and sometimes this could be at the end. The newlyweds go to garage sales, hoping to furnish their new home cheaply. So here, if you're gonna move it, this part here, if you move it over here to the end, just put a comma and join it. All right, let's take a look here. So that's ing, and then to. I don't see this a lot, but the book talks about it. So Leo jogged through the park to clear his mind before his midterm. If we stop here, to clear his mind before the midterm, who? There's no subject. So they just want you to put these together. So to clear is an infinitive. So Leo jogged. They have it. Oh, where is it? I'm trying to look where they fixed it. Well, I don't think. So Leo jogged through the park, no period, little t. So Leo jogged through the park to clear his mind before the midterm. All right. Now again, if you wanted to, you can move this to the front. So to clear his mind before the midterm, comma, Leo jogged through the park. Do you see how that works? Okay. And some students are thinking that to clear, to eat, to spend, to have, they're not verbs, they're infinitives. They feel like verbs, but they're not. So just be careful, okay? And you can look at an infinitive somewhere else if you want, but right now just know that you always need a subject with this. To clear his mind before his midterm, comma, who? Leo jogged through the park. And then down here, let's take a look. Oh, I kind of already did these, but this is how they fixed them. These up here. Hoping to furnish their new home cheaply, comma, the newlyweds go to garage sales. Good. And then Leo jogged through the park to clear his mind before the midterm. So these were just the correct ways that you could have done these two up here. So when an ing or a two-word group starts, this is a phrase, starts a sentence, follow with commas. And we do that. Hoping, ing, hoping to furnish their new home cheaply, comma, the newlyweds go to garage sales. Okay? And then here's some more examples. For class, we have to read several books, including the Diary of Anne Frank. If we stop here at the period, including the Diary of Anne Frank, there's no subject, there's no verb. So just put a comma like they do here, including the Diary of Anne Frank. Look here. My grandfather has many interests, for example, playing poker and watching old cowboy movies. Let's stop at the period here. For example, playing poker and watching old cowboy movies. If you're putting a period here and a period here, you're saying this is a complete sentence. It's not. There's no subject and there's no verb. So the quickest way to fix this one is you could put a comma here. For example, playing, okay, and then it's okay. Or you can make this a complete sentence down here. Come here. So my grandfather has many interests. For example, comma, he plays poker and watches old cowboy movies. Notice here we have a subject and a verb, right? And then we have subject he watches. So we have he plays, he watches. So let's go here. For example, he plays poker and watches old cowboy movies. We have a subject and a verb and it makes sense. What they did here is they made it a complete sentence by adding subjects and verbs. Instead of saying playing poker, they put playing as he plays. So now we have a complete sentence. So again, comma, including, comma, for example, and leave it alone, or period, and make it a sentence of its own. Now, if we wanted to, instead of putting comma, including the Diary of Anne Frank, we could say, period, this includes the Diary of Anne Frank. This is the subject, includes is the verb. Then we would have a full sentence, and then it would work. But it's just easier to put comma, including the Diary of Anne Frank. Go ahead and practice these. These will make more sense to you. And don't get hung up on this kind of fragments. I will help you with these. But the main part, just to remember, is you need a subject and a verb, and it has to make sense. Those are the three things to remember if you're going to have a sentence, a complete sentence. All right, thanks, everybody.